and welcome to The Good, The Bad and The What the Fox Volume Unknown for Christian Slater. It's been a long time since I've done a Christian Slater. The Good, The Bad and The What the Fox. So I don't know what it's called and I have no idea when it's going to finish. It is the 21st of June today. The reason why I say that is because I'm started recording the new Samuel Jackson one. So Samuel Jackson's priority. He has 2 entries so far. And this was an unplanned one for Christian Slater. Now, I'm a big fan of Christian Slater. Cuffs is behind us there. Tales from the Dark Side. I picked up the box set the other day at work. It was £21. I think it's new, but it came in as like a new range. And I won some money at work as well. So actually, that's what I bought with it. And I'm only on disc 2. It's 4 seasons. They're 21 minutes episodes, and I'm loving it. I love them. There's very short, very like twisted stories. So far, there's been so many people you recognise from other productions, whether it's the grandpa from Lost Boys, or Hudson Hawk's best friend, or the Reaper from Last Action Hero, and one of the other episodes was Christian Slater's turned up in it. Very young Christian Slater. This is 84ish. Basically, Christian Slater's grandpa, who's meant to be dead upstairs and awake, gets up and comes down for breakfast, and everyone's just like, what's going on here? He's like, I'm not dead. And he's like, well, you kind of are dead, you're dropping to bits. Then Data from Star Trek turns up, and this guy can be a really creepy actor, I think. I didn't even realise for years it was him in Independence Day. But yeah, he's like laying it down. Then Christian Slater's just in the background. He gets some dialogue here and there. His voice is he hasn't got his voice hasn't broken yet. And then his grandpa like realises, yeah, he must go lie down and just die because his nose falls off. Great story. Great story. As I say, I'm really enjoying the series so far. Now I'm aware that Christian Slater returns in the movie, so I've ordered the movie. I was expecting the postman to bring it today, but he hasn't. Should be here tomorrow. So Tales from the Dark Side, the movie will be next. I believe Christian Slater's only been on 1 episode of Tales of the Dark Side, so that's where it leads. Since I've done the Christian Slater, The Good, The Bad and The What the Fox, Legend of Billie Jean has been released on Blu-ray. Rewatched that, absolutely loved that film. I love the score. Invincible by Pat Benatar. It's constantly on the home pod. Just fucking right, just go for it. I believe like stuff like Beyond the Stars and Bed of Roses, and these are stuff that I can go into the other room and get it, because there's been a Christian Slater, Basil, there's been a pile of Christian Slater films building up. And I've got my Name is Earl back, but I need to revisit the original because I'm sure we're up to 3 or maybe 4 volumes of Christian Slater. It's been a long time. So yeah, this is Christian Slater, The Good, The Bad and The What the Fox. I'll find out eventually what volume this is. As I say, I'm filming the Samuel Jackson one, so that will take priority, but Tales from the Dark Side, as I say, just released in the UK, 4 seasons, and I'm only on the 2nd disc and I'm loving it. I'm loving going to bed, because like, I finished the X-Files, I finished Twin Peaks, and then for a while I've been looking for something new to watch, and this has came out, and again, you pay your interest, and by the time like it's twisted and then the episode's finished, and you're like, wow, like there's just some good stories, very twisted. Tom Savini had one the other day where there's this little creepy albino midget thing in the cupboard, and then it's not in the cupboard, and then the guy's like, I love you, or the guy who's like obsessed with the computer and that. It's some very, like Stephen King's involved and stuff like that, so check it out. It's now out on DVD. And that is the first entry into Christian Slater, and it's good. But it's also what the fuck, because it's so young Christian Slater. See you in the next part of the video in probably months. Well, a couple of weeks' time when I watch the movie. I'll probably watch the movie after the series is finished. So yeah, it's going to be a couple of months, because this is not, this is not on the fast track, this one. Okay, still watching Tales from the Dark Side, so, you know, Christian Slater movies. Samuel Jackson's just been finished, so Christian Slater technically is the other one. Now if you go back a couple of years now, you remember when I did the jigsaw for Christian Slater? Well, I've done it again, so it just so happens that it would be in there. But yeah, just a random bit clip before the next Christian Slater clip. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's there. Cuffs is out on Blu-ray. Looked amazing. And actually, you can't see it on this one though. While we're talking, I mean, Cuffs is an amazing movie, but it has already appeared on The Good, The Bad and The What the Fox, because it's one of the best Christian Slater films ever. True Romance is also out. So, I said that, you know, a few times over the channel that I kind of wanted to end The Good, The Bad, The What the Fox, but then I keep remembering how much fun they are, especially what I've just witnessed. So, it was a while ago I did the review for Tales from the Dark Side, and I'm halfway through season 3. It's 4 seasons. Then I've got the movie that Christian Slater's in. So I'll get there eventually. So hopefully Tales from the Dark Side will be number 10. And yesterday when I was cleaning up a lot of stuff around the house, organising stuff, the pile to watch, the pile that's been there for good, the bad and what the fucks, I was sorting them out. So I think I've got 5 John Cusack films, only 3 Samuel L. Jacksons, and 2 of them were new additions, about 4 Scott Atkins there, 2 Wesley Snipes, but I think if I dig through the other file, Wesley Snipes will be a contender for sure. And Nicolas Cage, there's at least 8 there, some absolute belting ones as well, and Christian Slater, there was 10. And there's 10 without Mr. Robot, because I want to start watching Mr. Robot. So, Tales from the Dark Side, early 80s for him, playing the son of the guy who wakes up dead, doesn't want to die, Critty Cricks. Fast forward, you know, cuffs again, it looked fucking amazing. She had cuffs, True Romance, and then somewhere around in 1997, after Hard Rain, Broken Arrow, Christian Slater at the time had co-produced Hard Rain and also produced another movie that I believe I have more than one copy of this, but it's not anywhere handy. I really should put Christian Slater films together on the DVD because there's quite a few. This movie is called Basil, and we're not talking the Great Mouse Detective, we're talking about Basil. Jared Leto, Claire Forlani, who is absolutely gorgeous, and Christian Slater. When the movie starts, it's Christian Slater, everybody else, and Jared Leto playing Basil. Basil just happens to be the main star of the movie. And I started watching this last night. Now at the time I was like, what the fuck? And then I've just finished it up there, and I am like, what the fuck's going on here? So it has seen a release in the UK. It is a 15. Period film. I don't want to really check on IMDb if it's from it's meant to be in Windermere in London. Like, Windermere is quite a distance away from here, and London's a massive distance away, especially when they're on horse and cart. Horse and cart. Horsey. Here, hi, we're coming. Right, okay, so anyway, part of the movie. Obviously, this is pretty weird. This is very early on in Jared Leto's career, like the era of Switchback. You know, you ever seen Switchback? He's in that. Obviously, he's in quite a few films back then, but this is really weird. Scream's Interview with the Vampire as well, because there's a lot of narration over it from his point of view, and it's a bit mental. It shows you the kid's childhood. But then this is what's really baffled me about this movie. So Basil's got a big imagination, and his dad's just like, you can't do that, you'll do as I say, and he banishes his brother. You shouldn't have looked at that girl, you're banished, brother. So Basil just grows up and he only keeps running around, sellotaping his face up like Clarence Delancey? Yeah, cleaning his face and hiding his face. And he scares people by taking the mask off, so I was like, alright, it's a bit different, isn't it? So anyway, the kid's got this massive childhood and he goes into this, and then years later, Basil becomes Jared Leto. And Basil's running around, climbs down the hill, goes for a swim, goes to get up the mountain, falls off, breaks his leg, only to be saved by Christian Slater, who plays John. Christian Slater's got his like normal comb back hair, but then he's got like a little flick. So we're not talking untamed heart length, we're talking just in the middle. Unusual length. Bed of Roses, be very similar time to that. Bed of Roses, there's one. There's another Christian Slater film, got that in big box VHS. We'll get there with that. So yeah, Christian Slater turns up, and then Jared Leto's like, oh, I like Claire Forlani, and Christian Slater's like, I'll set you up. And it's all about back in the day where you had to ask in court, and you shall not, you must wait, the manner, all this kinds of stuff, and Christian Slater's like this. And I've watched this whole movie and I was like, is Christian Slater really there? Or is it like fucking Basil completely basiled? You know what I mean? Because Christian Slater's like, And like a lot of it seems set down. There's a bit where he goes into this house, goes all the way upstairs, and it's just like this fucking shrine of fucking, you know, some Greek fucking rooftop, and Claire Forlani's just going around with the birds. You think, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, anyway, he falls in love with Claire Forlani. She's just like, every time he kisses her, she cries. It's like, well, that's fucking awkward. And then his dad's not happy, then he promises this. And then, of course, comes the twist. He catches Basil with Claire Forlani, stamps on his fucking face till like there's nothing left of him. Claire Forlani's pregnant. Basil runs up. Basil just gets away with flat out fucking manslaughter. But does he? Because this guy with a fucking bag on his head. Remember going back to the story as a kid? You know, this kid with the bags running around, this guy's running around with his fucking bag on his face. And it's like, there's a bit where it slows really down. And you think, is that meant to be Christian Slater? Because it doesn't look like Christian Slater, but is it for the stories meant to be Christian Slater? Or is it Jared Leto? Is it trying to pull a fast one here? Is there going to be some kind of payoff? Anyway, Claire Filani ends up with the house. Jared Leto tries to fucking live the poverty life because he's all rich and privileged, can't really do it. Tracks down Claire Filani, who's just had the kid, and just as he gets there, fucking in comes the guy with the bag around his head, and it is Christian Slater is not dead. And they end up having a random tangent after Claire Filani obviously passes away. I didn't say obviously, she didn't know she was dead until that point. I'm not expecting anyone to be watching this video, never mind the film. But anyway, off that rant. Yeah, they have this Russell tussle, and he, like, Christian Slater sees his reflection and he's just like, oh, and he's like all fucked up after being stomped to fuck, gets up and he's had enough and he fucking kills himself, and you think. So then Jared Leto raises their kid and then reunites with his father years later in Windermere, walking down the coast of Windermere, or the lake of Windermere, the fucking coast. And it's like, is Christian Slater's character even there, or is it all in Basil's fucking head? And Jared Leto finally becomes looking like himself finally, because there's the big hair, the beard comes in, and he's raising the kid, and you think, there's some twist now. It's based off a book, as I say, co-produced by Christian Slater. It's a bit mental. I mean, again, it's a period movie. It does scream a little low budget and definitely on the edges and stuff like that. It is a straight-to movie. But like when I was thinking about this, I was like, no, this is like, Christian Slater was fucking shit hot in the mid-90s, but this is where you go, uh-oh. And again, he's produced it, and it's just like, well, you know, whatever. I'll tell you a funny story though. I would put that in a bad kind. I would put that in What the Fuck. That is a What the Fuck movie. Especially, it says I'm Christian Slater, but it's Christian Slater at the start, and Christian Slater is sort of a supporting actor in this. A story that I went bullshit, kind of being younger, and then years later I found out it was true, and there's a picture somewhere. Windermere. I've been in Windermere before, and my granddad talked about Windermere when I was there, and he was just like, right, you know, one night I was coming in, I'd just been rowing out the boats in Windermere, came in to pull the boat in, and I was struggling. And I says, I was really struggling. Then this guy came along and helped us pull it in. He's going, all right, yeah, cool, that nice, and walked away. And then my granddad went, it was Prince Charles. I was like, fuck right off. And it was. Apparently Prince Charles helped him pull in his boat. I was like, what? But apparently it was something like in the fucking 70s. So I was like, what? And it was a true story apparently, so yeah, that goes into the What the Fuck. That is Basil in at number 2. So Tales from the Dark Side of the movie. That there's going to be some weird stuff like Beyond the Stars, I'll imagine. Finally get around to watching that. I mean, I've never seen it. I've got it on DVD and on Laserdisc. I mean, that's what the good and the bad is for. So yeah, good and the bad and What the Fucks isn't going anywhere yet. I'll just be, you know, I'm getting there. People are like, oh, you going to do Bruce Willis? I was like, no. See you in the next part of the video. Strike a pose. Get the light right. Strike it. Ready. Go. Yes. No. Next up for Christian Slater for the good, the bad, and the What the Fucks. It's clearly a What the Fuck movie. I've briefly seen this in the past. I never really give it a light of day. Didn't even realise Christian Slater was in it. It's almost like an Austin Powers kind of way. Christian Slater is in Zoolander. Ben Stiller's made some amazing films. Our House is definitely up there, one of my favourite films. And him and Owen Wilson have some amazing chemistry. And this is just cameo city. Vince Vaughn, everyone, you know what I mean? Billy Zane's in there as well. Keeps on going and going and going, even David Bowie. And Christian Slater. And it looks like they've got like a red carpet feed, and they've just stopped people and go, hey, we're making this movie. Can you do us a little skit? It'll be in there. And Christian Slater gets credited in it. Unlike Samuel L. Jackson in My Date with Drew in the last one, where he's just like, hey, just going to this gig. So Christian Slater appears right at the start. I thought I was going to have to really pay attention to it. I have enjoyed it in the background. As I say, it's not one of, I vaguely remember it. I've never took the time out to see the second one. But it is a total What the Fuck movie for how mental it is. And, you know, Ben Stiller, just the height of his Hollywood. I mean, the Night in the Museums are absolutely amazing. Something About Mary. I mean, he's a great creator. I mean, people forget that Ben Stiller directed the Cable Guy, do you know what I mean? And like, it's great to see that him with his dad's in there as well. His dad playing quite a big part. Mila Milokovic, multi-pass from Cuffs. She's almost, so there we go. Mila Milokovic is almost unrecognisable till the very end. I was like, is that Mila Milokovic? And the Christian Slater and her in Cuffs as well. So hey, learned so much from watching that. It is a what the fuck movie. It's daft. It's got some really funny bits. It's one of the ones where could it have been a 15 to be a bit more edgier, but again, it is. Ben Stiller is such an underrated actor, I think. So, yep, just a random short one. Zoolander, third film for Christian Slater. Hello, welcome to the next chapter for the good, the bad, and the what the fucks for the legendary Christian Slater. Now, I've just sat through 121 minutes of a movie called The Contender. It's been on the shelf for a while to watch. Big names. Gary Oldman, Joan Allen, Jeff Bridges, Christian Slater. Sam Elliott is also in this, as well as William Peterson from CSI. There's a couple of other people you'll recognise, like Philip Baker Hall, Sal Rubinix, Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott gets and Sam Elliott. But Christian Slater, you know what I mean, warrants enough to get his face in the box. This reunites Christian Slater with Gary Oldman from Murder in the First, True Romance, the awesome scene with Drexel and Clarence, and Guns, Girls, Gambling. Yep, I think that wasn't the last one. That's an eye-opener. Jeff Bridges has also worked with Christian Slater in Tucker, I believe they were in. Tucker got released on Blu-ray, and it's never really seen. And I mean, don't get us wrong, when I went to put these films back on the shelf, I was like, why the fuck aren't Christian Slater films all together? I seen Freaky Deaky the other day on the shelf in there, then I was like, right, pump up the volumes there. I can maybe start, but then I'll be like, right, I need to get the lists out, because when I moved into the house, all the DVDs were literally boxed up and put in the attic, and Casper just gives a shit all the time. He's like, can you bring these me black trays back? I say, Casper, use them as filing. But I've got a list, so it's not like I go up in the attic and go, which box? You know, I've got to just find the box with the name. But again, Christian Slater, I mean, this just shows you, like, so going to this film, it's very political, and again, I've seen quite a lot of political films, and it just mowed along, and it does raise awareness, and it's basically the vice president is missing or dead, or something's happened to him, so they don't have a vice president, and Jeff Bridges is the president, and he's a great president. Film's got a lot of fucking F-bombs left, right and centre. It's a lot more graphic than I thought it was going to be, but it is essentially a bit of a scandal. Gary Oldman's rocking this curly whirly hair, receding hairline, which you just don't realise. He just looks like normal Gary Oldman, but he's like frizzy dizzy up. Basically, he's like a part of the board or whatever he wants to be, head of council, and he's like, right. And they really want William Peterson, who's from NCSI and the guy who shot fucking Billy the Kid. They really want him to be the next vice principal, and he's like doing weird stuff like paying people to try to like look like he's saving lives and stuff goes wrong, and they basically like go for the woman, and it's quite awareness, because they're all like, oh, she can't do it because she's a woman kind of thing, and then it just hits you with a curveball, because obviously I was working and I just looked, and next thing you know, it's at a sorority gangbang, like, and it's showing you this like fucking vintage footage, and this one woman taking it in every hole possible. I'm like what? Like, man. And I was like, who's that meant to be? What's going on here? Is it a husband? No, it's actually meant to be her. And I was like, wow. It's like, what the fuck? But actually, that's what they dig up, because like they don't want her to be the vice president. And it really goes on the story about her being a strong woman. Her like, right, no, I want to be this, but I'm not willing to bow down. And it's, you know, it's a very power story. It's a very like, right, you know, by the end of it, it's got a story, and Jeff Bridges just gives an almighty speech. And then you get the old classic, like 80s, like old school film rules, where like the person will be turning, and they're like, right, can you turn for an end credit pause? And they'll be like that. And then names will come up, and it goes backwards. Then it goes to black screen, and then it rolls the right way around, so it goes backwards. So it starts with, I don't know, not Sam Elliott. It should be Sam Elliott, but it's like Philip Baker or whatever. Gary Oldman. Then it's black and Gary Oldman, and it goes through them again. And then you get a credit roll, and like, fuck me, within less than 2 minutes, I've seen Christian Slater's names 4 fucking times for Gary Oldman, because he produced this. But yeah, it's been on there. Fast moving and exciting. It's not really fast moving at like 2 hours 1 minute, like, but it's got deleted scenes with comedy, interviews. As I say, Christian Slater just turns up and delivers. There's something very unique about Christian Slater's voice, and I think he's always able to deliver dialogue. And he's just a working actor, you know what I mean? He just doesn't seem to stop. He's on that new series now called Dr. Death. It's a Room 51 song. And obviously wrapped up at Mr. Robot. I think Mr. Robot's just going to put it on the back burner to watch. Until the series is finished. But Joan Allen, I think she's a very underrated actress. She's obviously first seen her in Face Off, and then obviously would be quite a dominant force in Death Race, and she's been in other stuff, but you know what I mean. You can't knock it, and you can't help the fact that Christian Slater's got his mush on the front cover there as well. Curtain call, end credits. So yeah, that was the contender. So we are flying through this. As I say, not utilising True Romance. We've had Zoolander, which was a bit of a cheap cow. When I was out today as well, I picked up Nutty Professor 2, but there'll be Eddie Murphy is definitely, he's on the back end of the list. I've just started doing a few Eddie Murphys, the clump should be on there. But yeah, we'll get there with Christian Slater. As I say, that was, a political one. See you in the next bit of the video. Hello and welcome back to Christian Slater, the good, the bad and the what the fuck. Beyond the Stars, I'm going to have to rewatch it. I started watching it, right, the other night, and how long is this on for? It doesn't. 87 minutes, knee fucking way, man. Knee fucking way. I ended up that pissed the other night that I don't really remember the full length of the film, and it played twice. But what I do remember is this photo, and as if I talk over the photo, picture of me and Brit. And strange enough, in the movie, I don't know which way the overlays are going to work. So there's an original picture I've took with the thing where Martin Sheen's just like this. And me and Britt had just recently visited the Lake District, the fucking reservoir that's in the Lake District. But there's a picture with just so much alike. And then Carl McSorley, Mr. Carl, added the Loch Ness Monster on. So yeah, I just remember that from that night. I don't remember the film. So I'm going to have to watch Beyond the Stars again before I give it an honest what the fuck review. But from what I remember, it's, you know what I mean, it's Christian Slater in a very early role and like really like weird moon landing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like at the start. So we'll get back to Sharon Stone's in it as well. But we'll get back to Beyond the Stars. Hello there from Beyond the Stars. Alright, so you've seen me yesterday morning trying to remember what happened. Obviously I was drinking the other night and remember the movie, but like really confused by the ending, so I had to skip back and go, right, F. Abraham is in his little wheelchair, listening to Wheels, and I was like, he's in with Christian Slater in Name of the Rose. Then you got Don Davis, who obviously pops up a lot in Twin Peaks, even pops up in the new series of Twin Peaks after he's passed away. Terrifying. And he obviously is a guy who learns cuffs to shoot in cuffs, so there's a few people there. Very early movie, Sharon Stone is in this. I've never seen it before until now, and I actually own it on Laserdisc. It's one of them where it's proper cropped in the middle. Martin Sheen! On the DVD, it's Martin Sheen, Christian Slater. Let's have a look at this. See, it's just one of them. I've got a few like that. Silver Bullets being one. And funny enough, Dream Little Dreams by my feet. That's like that as well. So yeah, it's not a gatefold or anything. It's just Don't Finger the Laserdisc, Beyond the Stars. Pretty cheesy music. I think Christian Slater is really good. It's pretty much like a bit of a great outdoors. He's like gets sent to live with his dad. Gets sent to live after his dad after he's got a space rocket. And the space rocket goes through the school window, so he gets expelled. So he goes off to the lake. Obviously meets a girl. She happens to know Martin Sheen, a man who has landed on the moon before. And it starts off and it's very, oh, what's going on there? And he's trying to get back in there, and they do the best to make it look like a space landing and all that kinds of stuff and jazz. And it obviously exemplifies that Martin Sheen is basically, suffering from space syndrome, and he's got a secret. And Christian Slater tries to befriend him, but Martin Sheen is a bit of an alcoholic. As I say, it was very funny the other night when I was like, look at that picture, and Brit just uploaded that picture. And I think it was Carl who added Carl or Paul Ray added the fucking, it was Carl, get it right, added the Loch Ness Monster and Martin Sheen doing that. So it was quite, that's why it was called Beyond when I reposted that on social media. So yeah, Christian Slater, not a too bad film. You can see he had potential, and then people, you know, pushing him. He was cast in the role. Obviously, this is really Martin Sheen. Probably a safe film for Martin Sheen. Probably, you know, again, there's a lot of curiosity about space, especially in America. Just look what Tom Hanks did when producing that TV show as well as the Apollo movie. But this is pretty much nothing to do with space. I mean, there's some really good scenes where they're at the museum and you see the actual size of some of them rocket machines, and like they're standing there, it's huge. But then it gets a bit weird at the end. He's like, just got this rock. And it's like, no one knows about this rock. And like, Martin, if you haven't seen it, Martin Sheen's got a bit of a secret. He also has a bit of the moon. And at the end it just gets totally like left open. We're fucking flying, fucking, we come in peace, and like light shows and shit, and you're like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna leave it on what the fuck with that, because it's kind of like 87 minutes, even though the Laserdisc says 91 minutes. I mean, I guess that's the turnover time to change it. If you are on the clock and going, right, it's nearly finished. So yeah, a little bit of music cues and stuff like that, but you know, now to shout about, I was starting to collect me Christian Slater films when I was in the loft today working away. I'm going to try and make his collection complete once again. But yeah, just proper mental. Wasn't what I expected, but you can see it, you know, gets released. Young Christian Slater, veteran Martin Sheen, young Sharon Stone, throwing F. Abraham as a cameo in his little wheelchair, listening to the wheels. I mean, I don't know why they start listening to the wheels at one point. It gets a bit baffling, should I say. But yeah, that was Beyond the Stars.
Hello and welcome back to The Good, The Bad and What the Fuck's Christian Slater. Now, untraditionally, I've actually started editing this, so I'm well aware of like 5 or 6. I just watched Fern Gully. Now, I haven't seen Fern Gully since I was a kid, and Fern Gully was massively, heavily advertised on VHS back in the day. And surprisingly enough, Fern Gully has a massive cast. Now, I was well aware Christian Slater is in this, and it's well known knowledge that also Robin Williams plays Batty in it. I've just clicked there, Samantha Mathis. Now, if I just quickly do that, you can see Broken Arrows, the quad of the month up there. She was in Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. Christian Slater plays like the angry mate. Tim Curry is Hexus. We see animation in that guy at the end is very good. Jonathan Ward. Grace Zambiki, she's in Twin Peaks. Just have a look there. Robert Pastorelli, who died. Cheech Martin's in it as Stump. Tommy Chong's in it as Root. So Cheech and Chong are in it. Like, what? Let's have a quick look there. Who else might be in this? Top man cast. Anyway. Pretty big cast. Animation's really good, and the message is there. I mean, the end message of the movies is for our children and our children's children. It's pretty much Avatar. You know what I mean? It's a small little gang of fairies and wildlife animals, and like it's like, don't cut down that tree because the monster's in there, and humans come along and start chopping it down, and then the main guy Zach, he pretty much gets cast a spell on and ends up being downsized to a small little being the size of the fairies, and he gets a lesson in life about trees and nature and, you know, Mother Nature. You know, it's essential there as well. It's got a very positive message, and like, as I say, the animation is, as I say, trying to keep it with Disney back in the day. This was their 10 at it, and the animation's great. As I say, some of the colours of the bad guy at the end, especially when he's, you know, menacing across the towns and shit. But like, there's like loads of panning stuff, changing water effects. I mean, Robin Williams is absolutely hilarious, and Christian Slater just a very distinct voice. So, you know, it's not a bad movie. I think it's one where if you put it on to a kid and then it didn't know a difference in when it was made, I think it would send a real positive message. It has been lost. You don't see special edition, you don't see people going after it. I know it had a sequel, but I remember picking this up. I mean, I've just opened that, and I've bought that a long time ago, but I think it was like only $2.99. It's not much. It's only on for 72 minutes. But fans of Ron Williams, I mean, I think, you know, again, it was Aladdin. That was 92, wasn't it? So yeah, just again, remember animation, it's all hand drawn. You've got to respect that. You know what I mean? So quickly in, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest, Christian Slater. It's good. It's worth the watch. It screams Avatar. Now Avatar screams Fern Gully. But yeah, see you in the next bit of the video.
Hello, it's the next day after Fern Gully. I'm just free holding the camera. I'm doing some editing. I've just watched Sacrifice. Opened it for the very first time, and I don't know if you went back over the Christian Slater videos. I think there's 4 volumes. This is volume 5.
I've had Sacrifice for a while, and I've actually got it twice. And I remember trying to watch it and it actually not working. And I ended up with another copy. I had no idea. Like, Cuba Gooding Jr. has starred with Christian Slater in Lies of Illusion or something like that. That's another one that's been visited down the line. Kim Coates was in this. So it's Cuba Gooding Jr., Laura Dans, Kim Coates, and Christian Slater. There's a kid called, what's he called? Devin Bosnick. He takes pretty much the weight of the movie. This is pretty bad. Obviously looks like it's been shot in Canada. There's a lot of black screen font. A lot of like facts about drugs and all kinds of stuff thrown in your face at the start and just at the very end. Couldn't go to Junior. Just looks like he's took a paycheck. Academy Award winning actor just fell from grace a bit, I think. But again, pays the bills. Kim Coates just looks like this has been filmed when he's been away from Sons of Anarchy while that's been filming off the season. Christian Slater, again, probably worked a week, 2 weeks max. He's a priest, like Way of the Wicked, which appeared in the last one. Christian Slater as a priest. I think he's in a one called The Good Shepherd as well, which I haven't seen, and I've been obviously digging out a lot of these films when I was going through the loft, and at first I wasn't looking for Christian Slater films as I went through them, but I really do need to go back through them boxes in the attic and put a definitive Christian Slater collection there, because he's really cool to get a hold of. I won't try and start tracking down his VHSs, like the two Corys, but you know, I've still got quite a lot of them back in the day, like Cuffs and that's there, but this was a right stinker, this one. There's a bit where it's all in red. I mean, the story's really weak. The sound quality's crap. For the most part, it's Cuba Jr.'s away from a lot of people. So again, it's, you know, again, when you're stretching out a film, like a lot of his scenes away, there's a shootout at the end. It's all squid effect bloods. Story, he's suffering from a loss of a child. Christian Slater is just hanging out looking after his church. I don't think you see Christian Slater once outside his church. There's a guy called Mike and has a daughter. And Mike's pretty much like... There's a lot of people shagging at the start of the toilets. It's like twice there's two people shagging in the toilets. Kim Coates is like the local drug dealer. The big wig, and he has a son, and then there's Mike. And Mike's trying to support his sister. And... Mike goes down the wrong path. I mean, I'm spoiling this film for you, but Mike gets shot probably 3/4 away from the movie. You don't really expect it. You can't. You know, he's just trying to like look after the kid, but then you realise, oh, Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to end up with a girl, and that's going to be his. You know, it's called Sacrifice. I'm not sure why. I mean, it's pretty cool graphics at the start, but then you look at it and go, well, it's just the definition of sacrifice, and sacrifice written with big ass block and black outline. Christian Slater, though, you know, does what he does. He delivers lines. Probably knows what he was doing. Took a paycheck, probably a deal, you know, because of Cuba Gooding Jr. Sometimes actors do that. But yeah, pretty much a stinker, The Sacrifice. But it's done. You know, there's not much to shout about it. You know, he wanders around trying to get to the bottom of it while Mike's trying to get out of it. And as I say, there's a couple of scenes with people banging in the toilets and all that. But it's one of those ones where you can just see the quality drop, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of scenes where it looks like it's stock footage and it hangs on it. I mean, I was just thinking that it's on for 95 minutes. Could be 90 minutes easy if it took down some of the, like, you know what I mean? It's almost really like it's been made for TV to span out maybe the 2 hour mark. You know, repackaged over here. But yeah, pretty much a stinker, that one. So that was Sacrifice. Hello. Right. Hi. I've just watched Back to the Sea. From Sacrifice to that, back to back. I've had that for a long time. I've just opened that one for the first time, never seen it. Runs at 94 minutes, way too fucking long. Christian Slater, Mark Hamill and Tim Curry. So Tim Curry, Christian Slater reunited from Ferngully. As I say, this has been on the shelf for absolutely ages, and I'm just getting them through. That's what the good, the bad and the what the fuck's it's all about. And that was hard watching that. Easily could have been 70 minutes long. It's pretty much Sausage Party. Even as I was looking at Ferngully and appreciating how well Ferngully was drawn and like the story it had, this was like Sausage Party, where it it's all about them in a fish tank, and they're all about, oh, I'm the chosen one. And he's going, no, like this fish from the sea who's just been caught. He's going, don't, you'll get killed. And Mark Hamill is the octopus. That's why I'm sitting here in Brit's library. Is the octopus, and he's like dictating who goes out, and it's like fucking. Obviously, you just hear, like, I hear the Joker. There's so much tins in the Joker from the Arkham Asylum games. I couldn't tell you who Tim Curry was. And it took me a while to work out who Christian Slater was. Christian Slater plays Jack, who's sort of like a human who's basically after the pearl. There's a story about going on about the pearl. So there's a story about them getting out of the fish tank, and there's the story of the pearl, and there's the story of the kid who works in the restaurant. And it's very like, it's two different kinds of stories just clashed together. But like, not only was it really weak in that, the animation, man, it's sort of like at the very end, it's so uber white when it doesn't need to be. It's really hard to see, but it's a hybrid between, looks like it's been sketchy drawn, then really bad CGI. You know what I mean? There's obviously underneath the sea, so there's bubbles all going past there, but then the stuff that's like two kinds of different animation. You've got your old school, they try to look old school, but then they've got this, you know, very CGI stuff, especially movement. It was really bad. I mean, I try to follow it as best I can, but like gauging against Ferngully, it's just like a massive step back. It means meant to be leap forward. I mean, animation's a lot faster now. You know what I mean? You can change stuff in the computer, but there's just the execution. A couple of song cues in there, but not musical, original music, and I was just like, oh, when will this fucking end? So for Christian Slater, again, very distinct voice, but not really like, oh, that's Christian Slater, because again, I remember in Igor, you know, he puts a twist on his voice and all that, so he's very distinct stuff. Right, I'm not going to watch another Christian Slater one now. I'm going to try and bash through a couple of episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, with Tales of the Dark Side, the movie, to be the one for number 10. I was tempted to watching Bed of Roses, because I've got that in VHS, but I'm not sure what number 9 is, but after that, I'm glad Back to the Sea's finally out there, but it was really, really bad. See you in the next part of the video. Hello, welcome back to The Good, The Bad and The What The Folks. Now, I'm not sure if I'm up to 9 or I'm meant to be watching Tales from the Dark Side, but I have watched, well, Churchill. Remember that entertainment? Them horrible stickers? I'm going to try and eventually get that sticker off. Massive cast. I haven't seen this, I mean, remember when it came out, but you've got Christine Slater and Neve Campbell. You've got Vic Reeves, Vic and Bob are in it, but only Vic Reeves is on the front cover. Harry Enfield's in it. Rick Mail's in here, Anton Shear. It's pretty much a who's who of British comedy. It's a right stinking film. It's weird as shit. I mean, it's just Churchill, the Hollywood years, and it's very set boundish, and they use a lot of old stuff. And it's honestly, it's going about how Winston Churchill isn't Winston Churchill. He was an actor who fell into the role, and there's this whole thing. But it's absolutely weird. I mean, don't get us wrong. It does have some laugh out loud bits, but Hitler's parading around, and you know, obviously he gets to England and can't get to like the wedding, and there's just some really quirky bits in it, and it's just some really cheesy bits. I mean, Neve Campbell's playing one of the soon to be queen. She's rocking the English accent. Christian Slater's running around as Churchill. There's a rap in it, and you think, what the fuck? And like, it's just some weird shit. So when it comes to like The Good, The Bad and The What The Fucks, this is a total what the fuck movie. In the hilarious spoof of history, Hollywood style, Christian Slater plays Winston Churchill, a handsome GI who arrives in 1940 London and falls for Princess Elizabeth, Neve Campbell, who is working undercover for the war effort. Together, they uncover a sinister plot. The palace invade the treacherous Alice, the dim-witted King Harry Enfield, and fucking Hitler himself. Featuring an all-star cast. It's just fucking weird as shit. Like, it's fucking totally weird, but it's good to get it out of the way. I haven't got much more to say about it. I mean, it's great to see fucking Rick Mail and Christian Slater in a scene together. I think Rick Mail was completely wasted. He would have been great as just the villain. If Rick Mail was cast as Hitler, I mean, that would have been just totally meant. But like, there's the other guy. It's Spud? Is it Spud? Aye, because Hedgehog is Spud from like the Young Ones and Bottom. He's in it as well. So there's a few people you see and you go, oh yeah, he's from a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and all that. Legal Gentlemen, not the Extraordinary Gentlemen, but yeah, it's fucking weird as shit. That was Churchill, the Hollywood years.
We'll call this bit the Tales from the Slant Side. Okay, so Tales from the Dark Side is the last. I've watched Tales from the Dark Side and Churchill back to back. 90 minutes. I was going to get my little mummy out for this. The Mummy Man. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, it's Prism, so this is why it would have been a very early release DVD, 2002. There's a lot of Prism titles. You see a few, the Corey Haim, Corey Feldman ones, very limited run. Saw them in masses, then just disappeared, you know what I mean? They never did a second batch. Global Entertainment used to sell a lot of stuff from Prism. Tales from the Dark Side, Debbie Harry's in this, classed as Deborah Harry. Christian Slater, Steve Buscemi is also in this, as well as the guy who was in Aliens and wasn't in Aliens and replaced Raiden, James Renner, maybe is his name. He's also the killer from Duplex. So basically, Tales from the Dark Side's a movie. Brand new music, is gone. Uses the font from the second and the third and the fourth series, and it's basically 4 stories, but with Debbie Harry is doing the Hansel and Gretel, getting ready to cook the kid, and the kid's got this book and he's like reading stories, and there's 3 main stories around the Debbie Harry one. Christian Slater appears in the first one with Steve Buscemi. Christian Slater just looks like he's fell out of Pump Up the Volume. It's that kind of era there. He's just gone off there. I was like, what's this about? You can see the background there. On some part of the Christian Slater video is in the background, so I've been prepping this, so just need to fill on this, dump this on the end, and bang, the video is done. And there'll be, there's one outtake, fuck knows what that is. I would say it's been filmed over the past couple of months, this one. It goes way back to when I painted the shelves. So yeah, this one's been on the cards for a while. I think it was filmed for Samuel L. Jackson. But back to the movie, just like the movie is, jumping all over the place. The first story is about a mummy. Steve Buscemi's in the library, and his little notes, and like he's basically Christian Slater's sister, played by Julianne Moore, is in this as well. And this mummy comes to life, like Imhotep, going around fucking murdering people, and Christian Slater's like, oh, the fucking mummy's dead. And Christian Slater goes full on psycho with a fucking meat cutter on the fucking mummy, breaking the fingers off after he kidnaps Steve Buscemi. Not a bad little story. As I say, 90 minutes, so they are like 20-minute stories, maybe it's 25 each. And then chuck on the Debbie Harry trying to fucking cook the kid story on top of that, and that's your hour and a half there. Probably could have worked. They probably could have did a few more of these, you know what I mean? Maybe as a TV exposure had run its course, you know what I mean? I've talked about this. I've just done Tales from the Dark Side, and I filmed that yesterday when I talk about the entire box set. So I'd finished the box set, and then it was time to watch this, and it worked out well to be the last Christian Slater film of this genre. Christian Slater's great in this. He is, just as I say, just like he is in Pump Up the Volume, but also a bit of that hint of Heathers where he goes psycho on the fucking mummy, so it's worth watching for that. The second story, which pretty much doesn't have anyone recognisable in it. I'm sure it was the old guy from One Crazy Summer, or it's the guy from Mouse Hunt, and it's about this guy who's come to this house, and this fucking cat's been going around fucking murdering people, and it is literally like this cat just sitting on people's faces. So it's a bit of a queer, weird story. It's all maybe tinted blue. And then the last one is about a guy who falls in love with this girl after he sees his friend murdered, and then it fucking turns into this winged fucking demon and flying around, and then the kids turn into demons and gargoyles, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, literally, what the fuck? But, you know, but it was, all of it just seems very set bound. They've just literally turned, like, essentially like a 5th season, maybe his ideas, but it was great to see Debbie Harry come back, Christian Slater come back. As I said, it seemed to be quite well executed, especially the transformation of the woman into the fucking gargoyle thing at the end was pretty brutal, but I didn't find it very scary, and it's still corny on its thing, but it's great to have it for the Christian Slater collection, great to close this up. The series, so going back, you know, it's not bad, it's not good, but it's not bad, it is what it is. You know, it probably tried to go on the Creep Show had one too. So we started with Tales from the Dark Side of the TV series. At the very start, Christian Slater appears as the grandpa. Overall, the box set for $22.99 is really worth buying. And then we had Basil, like, fuck my life, that was a what the fuck movie. You could probably say Tales from the Dark Side's good because there's so much creativity, there's so much cast, you know, so that's definitely good. But Basil, fuck my life. I mean, Christian Slater just come out at the end of Hard Rain, got his hair a little bit longer, but running around and is it in Jared Leto's fucking head or whatever, and it's just, fuck me, it's unavoidable. Zoolander was a little bit of a cash in, to be honest with you, because if you're checking out my unboxing series,
Ten Commandments has come, which is obviously a cartoon. When that's one for Christian Slater. So again, there will be another Christian Slater one down the line, but I think he is technically in Zoolander, so there we go. The Contender, a drama one, wasn't now to shout home about, wasn't what I expected, so I'll probably put that in the bad category. Everyone does give a bit of a good performance in it, but then we got Beyond the Stars, which sort of went, what the fuck. Again, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, you know what I mean, it was a bit of cheese on there. Then we got Fern Gully, which is, tell you what, was a hell of a lot better than Beat Sea. So Fern Gully was good. I think anyone should see that. It's a really well animated movie. Sacrifice was pretty bad. It was definitely a paycheck and a handshake. Back to the Sea was disastrous. I thought that was really bad. It's probably the worst one in the bunch. And then we got, as a total what the fuck, Churchill Goes Hollywood. And then tying it off, Tales from the Dark Side. As Hyra comes in. Hello girl, you okay? He's going to sit on the floor. Right, okay, so this has been Christian Slater, the good, the bad and the what the fucks, randomly rants, watching movies. As I say, I'm trying to rebuild my collection up so you can see it. I think Christian Slater is a phenomenal actor who's just worked and worked and worked. There's so many good things about him. He's a great voice actor. He's just a great character. He was a really nice person to meet in real life as well, so it was really cool. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Dog's going mad. Goodbye for now.
Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling?
Hello, in the outtakes for Christian Slater, the good, the bad, and the what the fucks. I actually watched Pump Up the Volume last night, and it's fucking mint. I mean, I was absolutely loving it. Obviously, I was in at the time as well, so you're going to briefly. But what a fucking intro. But yeah, I've just listened to Pat Benatar. What's really cool, I got this at Vintage Record Fair on Sunday. It was 2 for £5, and includes a hit single, Invincible. And on the back there, the theme from the legend that is Billie Jean. So since I did Billie Jean a couple of years ago when I was doing the Christian Slater first rounds, I lent the Legend of Billie Jean of Casper. It's obviously been released since on Blu-ray, picked it up, absolutely mint, but that song has been stuck in my head since I watched the movie, because it's obviously the Blu-ray menu screen as well, so it's very limited. You might have to order it, but it's stripped back, there's no extra features. I think there's a couple of interviews with Yesterday Smith, he's in The Simpsons. But yeah, class movie, and great to have a soundtrack. So yeah, goodbye for now.
Hello there. One last outtake. Broken Arrow's been up all month and not one of them shots caught in the background, I don't think, but there, Christian Slater. Prepare to go ballistic. Might have been actually, because Samantha, Memphis and Christian Slater run Fern Gully as well as Pump Up the Volume, but yeah, random outtake for the very end. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.